Okay, so the Federation University Striped Pipe Band, the first band in Ballarat, was formed in 1909. We've been going continuously since then. We formed up to 3 bands at one stage, but there's probably about 20 playing members at the moment, playing competitions, playouts, individual things like university graduations and that sort of thing, but very encouraging of children, kids. It's family oriented, so there's a lot of family groups come and play with us. Okay, so in the pipe band you have bagpipers, people that play bagpipes, which is a Highland bagpipe from Scotland, originally from Scotland. You have side drummers and a basic section, which is bass drummers and tenor drummers. So the number can vary. So you have more pipers than drummers usually, but you can have as many as you like. So one bass drummer, but just the numbers can vary. So and people varying levels of experience. So young people come along and they're supported by existing people with experience. Well, they say 7 years of varying, so you start off on a practice chanter and it might be up to a year before you get on actual bagpipes. So there's a lot of different things. There's the actual playing as well as the physical part of it as well. And each week, band practice, for most of the year we had 1 practice a week, which is probably somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. But for 6 months of the year we can practice twice a week if you're practicing for competitions. And then individually at home you have to do your own practice and learning tunes and that sort of thing. So then it comes travel. So for competitions we've travelled all over Australia, within Victoria, so there's a lot of time travelling. And we also have players that come from out of Ballarat. So our bass drummer lives in Warrnambool, our pipe major lives in Melbourne. So there's people that travel to actually band practice as well. So there's a lot of commitment. You march into a circle, play your competition piece. There's various judges like pipe judge, drumming judge, and then there's ensemble who judges how you match together and choice of music and that sort of thing. So, and then you're in various grades, so you're competing against other bands, and then usually the culminates in Victorian Championships each year, and then Australian Championships every 2 years, which were going to be in April this year. Yeah, so weekly, the actual just practice, you'd say, was probably about 5 or 6 as a band, but then yourself personally, you've got to do at least 2 at home, hopefully more, a week practice. We competed at Darstford in December, and we run our own Highland Gathering in February, which did happen this year, prior to everything happening. So then, and also we competed at Bendigo, which was the week afterwards, but then every other competition was cancelled. And including the Australian Championships were initially deferred till October now, but they've been cancelled. Our Ballarat competition, we don't sell tickets and have gate takings because that takes a lot of infrastructure and people. So because you have an open, people can just walk along and see, where your numbers are unlimited. So until such time as rules allow for unlimited audience, it's not going to be able to proceed. This is honour boards showing the First World War and Second World War of players connected with the pipe bands that actually joined up from Ballarat. So there were other people that joined up, had been previous members, but that's the ones in Ballarat, including our pipe majors, Colin MacDonald in the Second World War there. Other than that, you've got photos from the 3 Ballarat bands. There was the Ballarat Ladies, Ballarat Highland and Ballarat Scottish that was formed to be the eventual band.
And so this tradition's been running since, you were saying, 1909?
Yeah. So there were pipers in the goldfields. I know Bunningham had a Highland gathering, but the 1909 was the first formal pipe band, which was the Ballarat Caledonian Society formed a pipe band. And so you can read on Trove, you can read all the minutes of the meetings, and which is quite very interesting.
And so this is the first time in the band's history that that's had to stop, is that correct?
Well, I look back to see what happened in the Spanish flu times, which it didn't specifically mention the Spanish flu, but as part of the First World War, coming back from that, it continued. Like they were struggling, but they did continue. Well, it's more probably as much the social aspect. I do go to the gym, and that's been online, so that's probably, if you didn't have another outlet, it would be difficult. Yeah. So, it is hard because you might have intentions to practice at home, but unless you have something to practice for, you don't necessarily put that time in practicing yourself. Yeah. The reason competitions are good is because they force you to practice, and yes, your skills deteriorate if you don't practice. But yeah, if you don't play, or you deteriorate. And plus, it's if you don't practice, you sort of worry that people will go off and do something else. It is difficult, and it's difficult to get young children along because there's so many other interests. And with sport now, sport tends to be like any formal sport, cricket or whatever. They often have 2 practices a week, and their practices are compulsory, where people used to play in the pipe band and come to weekly practice and then just play cricket or something on the weekends. But now sport's probably more serious, even from a young age. So, and I think something like bagpipes, it takes a long time to learn. It's not instant. So, it's harder to get people along to play. Other states have started, like Western Australia have just recently had competitions, the first competition. I think Queensland as well, but it really depends on how much people put in when you can do something again. You know. Well, really, until we're allowed to practice without face masks, we were hoping to practice as soon as we could. Like if we could have 10 practicing outside, that was our plan, to just do that. But until the face mask restrictions are lifted, we can't do that. And things like Zoom, because of the delay, you can't. That doesn't really work. There's really no solutions. And I know a lot of choirs do the videoing and recording and all that sort of thing, but that really doesn't work for us. The majority are champing at the bit to get out and do something. You do anything. So I think majority is still keen to be doing something. Yeah.